Hello students, Miss Slyman here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the GeoGebra book that I made so that directions are clear for all of us and if you want to go back and see some of the 3D stuff on your own. So I've put a link here to the GeoGebra book, and if you click it, it takes you to this book, and these match up with our notes titles, and then we've got the different examples. So the one we were looking at today was Planes Example 1. And so if we look at the top of this, we can see that we're asked to find the parametric equations of the plane through 3, -1, 2 with these two direction vectors. And so that's what I've put in here. So I've got my point A at 3, -1, 2, and then I've got my two direction vectors. So my plane is going to go through this point and be parallel with these two direction vectors. So if I want to play with GeoGebra myself, I can use this button here and then say open with GeoGebra. And now I can come into the hamburger, and through the hamburger, actually, you already have your input, so you don't need to open the algebra. So I think that the equation of this plane, so I'm going to type in the word plane because I want to put in a plane. Goodness, plane. And now I can see that one of my options is to put in a point and two vectors. So with my plane, my point is A, so I can put in A, comma u for my first vector, v for my second vector. So that's one way I could put it in. And now if I turn this, I can grab this over here to turn it. So if I turn it, I can see that my plane is parallel to those two vectors and through that point A. If I moved those vectors to be on point A, then I could see that my vectors are in this plane as well. So if I wanted to do that, I could input a new vector. So I could say vector. And one way to do that is to put in a start point and an end point. So my start point would be A. And then my end point would be if I followed this direction out of A. So I'm going to say 4, -1. And then 2, gonna go 4, puts me at 6. So now I can see that that vector is definitely in the plane. I could do the same thing to put in another vector. An alternative way to enter the equation of my plane, so I'm gonna delete this, and I'm gonna delete this one. So another way I could have put in that plane is to type plane, and then I have the option, again, of point, vector, vector. So to put in a point, that goes in parentheses, 3, -1, 2, comma, now I want to put in a vector. So I type in vector, and then the input, so I need parentheses to say that I'm putting in an input, and the input is a point, and points go in parentheses. So 1, 0, 4. So close off my parentheses, comma, another vector, again parentheses, -2, -1, 7. And that's my input for my plane. And I can see that I get the same plane that I had before. So parallel to those direction vectors and through my point A.